and being part of our group. We want to bring on Kurt Mortensen this morning. Kurt Mortensen is a good friend of ours. He's a author that has books are all over the world. And he teaches about persuasion and leadership. And one of the ways he does that was sales. Now, sales is not beating up on somebody and cramming them in a corner and forcing them to do something that they don't want to do. My friend Robert Allen will always say, forced against your will, you have the same opinion still. That's why when you're forced into something, usually it doesn't stick. So we want to solve problems. Sales is about solving problems. How do you solve problems? And then the best salespeople, that's what they do. There's a saying that says, this guy's such a good salesperson, he could sell ice cubes to an Eskimo. Well, that's just being stupid. If you were really good, you'd be selling them a heater. Okay, solving problems. So Kurt, if you're ready to go, I'm going to turn the time over to you. And I'll let you run. We're back here in sales school.
All right, Success and Money Foundation peeps. We're here, we're back. This is Sales School. Kurt Mortensen here as we learn the skills to build that side hustle, to build that business, to communicate with people, to understand that we all sell for a living. In fact, this is the glue to everything. That's what we talk about today, the glue. Like, what is the glue? The glue is trust. Doesn't matter if you have the best product, the best service, the best price, the worst price. Doesn't matter. If people don't trust you, they're going to go to someplace else. Unless it's a really inexpensive thing they need every day, and it doesn't matter if they trust you. Rare, but it could happen. We're going to talk about number 2 here, trust. Building that glue, building the trust. Because you feel it, they feel it. How do you quantify it? How do you increase your trust with the people that you interact with? Doesn't matter what you do. Persuasion, influence, negotiation, presentation, side hustle, business. Talked about last time, remember, most CEOs have a sales and marketing background. We all sell something, even if it's your ideas, even if it's your children, even if it's your neighbor, we all sell. We know that, we've talked about that. Now today we're going into the glue. So here's the question. Do people trust you? Are you sure? Come on, let's back up. You might have a little trust. Maybe you've lost some trust. It's important to have more trust the more trust you have. It's not just on or off. There are levels of trust. And even though you're good, trustworthy people, all right, let's say that. And then you are, because you're here. You're sharing the foundation. You're sharing the videos. You're bringing it to your friends. You want to do better. You want to help your family. You want to help society. I know you're trustworthy people, but that doesn't matter right here, because even though you're a trustworthy person doesn't mean people trust you. Well, that's not fair. Hey, we don't deal with fair. We're just dealing with reality. The way things have changed, and this is a big shift in the world of trust and persuasion and sales. When you think about, do people trust you? It used to be, I trust you, give me a reason not to. All right, benefit of the doubt, I'm trusting you. All right, most people are good people. Now, things have shifted to where, I don't trust you. You better give me a reason to trust you. So that's where it comes in. Even though you're a good, trustworthy person, does not mean people will trust you. So how do you build that trust? How do you get to that point as we talk about these different pieces? Now, it's interesting. Trust can come from a lot of different areas, from external surroundings to how tall you are. That can increase your trust if you're tall, to the clothes you wear. Wearing sharp clothes can, and even blues and black can bring out more trust. Deeper voices. So there's external things, the way your office is set up, having lots of windows, the car you drive. There's external factors here. And another interesting factor before we get to the core of trust, what I call the C's of trust, is even your profession. Just based on what you do can help or hurt trust. So let's talk about your profession. Now, I know this might not be fair to you, but it's reality. Let's talk about even your profession. So what is the most trusted profession? What do you think? Pharmacist at 64%. That's the highest. That's surprising to a lot of people. Why a pharmacist? Well, I don't know. Is it because they give you drugs? Well, maybe. Well, they wear a white coat. There's a degree on the wall. They're up on a platform. They're the solution to your problem that you've been having. They don't try to upsell you. Hey, we have a 2-for-1 special. We'll give you some morphine on that. They give you the generic. They tell you do's and don'ts. So there's some trust factors there. That's kind of an interesting one. The next one, clergy at 59%. That's been dropping over the year. Medical doctors, college teachers. The one that is on the list. This is not the complete list. Is firefighters. They're top of the list, but not as high as police. They're at 49%. Because police love hate, right? Are they giving you a ticket or stopping a burglar? Firefighters just always trying to help you out. Bankers at 30, journalists at 22, business executives at 21. Then you have stockbrokers at 19%. Congress at 17, that's dropped a lot over the years. Real estate agents at 16, chiropractors at 15, lawyers at 14, especially in the United States. Insurance sales at 11, advertisers at 10%, and car sales at 5%. If you want to go lower than that, we'll be talking about telemarketers. Hey, these are good people, but some people before you've blown it, lawyers, for example. Most lawyers are pretty good people, but there's some rotten ones. They call ambulance chasers. That can definitely be a challenge. So even your profession can dictate the trust people have with you. It's just how it is. It could be external surroundings, the way you dress, the way you walk into a room. But let's focus on some things we can work on right now to increase your trust. Okay? Now, again, this is the glue to everything that we're doing. And there's some things you're doing that put little cracks, little crevices, little holes in that trust that you have. And we're going to go through those, how to fix them to increase your trust. It's not just on-off. It's not a light switch on and off. Trust, don't trust. There are degrees of trust. Maybe a little trust, a lot trust, complete trust. I mean, people want to be sold. They want to trust someone that's going to solve their problem and lead in the right direction. Deep down, that's what people want. We talked about that last time. Again, hopefully you've done that homework. You've done the homework. We're moving on. Now we're talking about the first piece we need to really sell, to persuade, is trust. So that first C is character. All right? That's where a lot of people default to. They go to character. That's your sincerity, your integrity, your honesty. And that's real important as you get younger. They want someone that's genuine, real, authentic. I mean, sincerity comes from the Latin word sincetus, which means without wax. You're like, what's that mean? Well, basically, during those times, when you made a sculpture or a pillar and there was a mistake in the marble, you filled it with wax to hide the flaw, to hide the mistake, to hide the irregularity, whatever you want to call it. But the sun, you put it out in the sun, it would reveal that. So when you're sincere without wax, this is who I am, and that's what people want. Real, authentic, genuine. They don't want some fake person. Integrity, that's what UCLA college study says what most important things to exceed in long-term business. You might get them short-term, but long-term, it's integrity. Do what you say you're going to do. So integrity, being honest, sincere, all those things are critical. You're like, well, I do that. Well, do you? A couple little aspects here. Your character. You could have the greatest character, but do people perceive that? A couple things to take a look at here. First one, do you keep promises to others? I'll get it to you tomorrow by 5 o'clock. This is what I'm going to do. You have to do that. If you're going to be late, you let them know what's going to happen. You don't just be late. You keep all your promises. More information. Meet you at this time. Be a little early. That's the first piece. The second piece, and this is kind of an interesting one, do you keep promises to yourself? When people see that you can't keep promises to yourself, you can't persuade yourself, that hurts their character, their perception of character of you, and lowers their perception of trust. You can't, you say you're going to be on time more, you're not. You say you're not going to eat that, you do. You say that, hey, clean your room, but your garage is a mess. I mean, there's a lot of factors here we have to think about. Do you keep promises to yourself? So the science is interesting. The science of willpower, the science of self-discipline. We talked about this in Millionaire Psychology. But to review here, is most people fail at their goals in the morning time. Because we have this willpower battery inside us that, assuming you've had a good night's sleep, your willpower battery is fully charged. But every time you resist, let's say you want to eat healthy, no to the bagels, donuts, pasty, coffee, no. Bloop, bloop, bloop. It keeps draining until in the afternoon you don't care. Nobody loves you. We eat the whole thing of ice cream, right? Remember that? We've talked about that. That is part of this. You have to realize, okay, every time you resist, your willpower battery drains. Every time you don't get a good night's sleep, you do, especially in sales, you deal with stress, rejection, the no, drain, negative people, ornery people, Aunt Edna, drain. So you have to have a game plan to recharge, but just know you have to keep promising yourself. People are watching. Well, it shouldn't matter. It does. They're watching. Are you keeping the promise to yourself? That's a function of character, willpower, self-discipline. You need to have that for trust. That is character. The next one, your competence. This is your knowledge, your intelligence, your ability. Are you accepted as the expert? Are you competent? Do you know what you're doing? Can you solve that problem? Do they know you can solve their problem? Hey, when you're accepted as the expert, there's very little resistance. They trust you. Think of a doctor or a lawyer that you really trust. Hey, do this. Okay. Right? No resistance because it's the expert. Why would you resist? You've accepted them as the expert. So when people accept you as the expert, there's very little resistance. So, okay, your knowledge, your intelligence, your ability, how do you come across? Remember we talked about in Millionaire Psychology, do you have a personal development program? The more you learn, you grow, you feel more competent, you act more competent, you are more competent. You should be spending 30 minutes a day learning, growing, understanding your craft, whatever it is. There's so much information on the internet, from successandmoneyfoundation.org to YouTube videos to podcasts to books. Remember, every problem you're going to face in life, someone's already faced it, overcome it, and has a podcast or a book or a video that will solve it. So don't take the long route and figure it out on your own. Learn it. So again, you become more confident and you feel more competent. In fact, one of my early mentors, Brian Tracy, said something interesting. If you can read or learn 30 minutes a day after 5 years, you become an international authority in your field. You know more than 99.9% of the people about your area, what you do, your business, your product or service. That's where you need to be. When you get there, people are automatically will trust you. All right, that's the first thing with competence. The second thing is, if you're meeting somebody for the first time and you're not feeling they're accepting you as the expert competence, this could be internal, external, your company, could be your wherever. Could be meeting for a prospect for the first time, trying to sell them. Here's the key. You teach them something new in the first 4 minutes. Something new, unique, a different angle, something to think about, a new trend, something that's new, unique, different they haven't thought about. Teach them something new. First 4 minutes, and then they can accept you as the expert. Doesn't guarantee, but it sure helps. Every little thing you add helps. So with competence, the way to fix it, again, the way you dress more confident, the way you walk in the room. We talked about that. Having a personal development program so you do know your stuff and teach something new in the first 4 minutes. The next C in the C's of trust, confidence, right? Your assurance, your belief, your conviction, your passion. You believe you're a product of the product. What does that mean? You're doing what you're asking other people to do. If you want them to buy a Ford, you're driving a Ford. If you want them to clean their garage, your garage is clean. You want them to do it, you're participating, you're part of it. You're not just telling them to do it, you are doing it. This is true in leadership, this is true in persuasion, this is true in sales. Are you confident enough to be a product of the product, doing what you're asking other people to do? That is key. Your assurance, your belief, your passion, you believe, they can feel you believe in what you're doing. You're passionate, that just oozes from you. The excitement, the energy, the enthusiasm, that is what you're looking for. Because passion just recruits the hearts and minds of your audience, and you need that. Being more confident. That could be also a function of the way you present yourself. That could be a function of the words you use. It could be a function of your demeanor, a function of your eye contact. There's a lot of factors here you could talk about, but I think the big one for most people is the opposite. Well, I guess there's a couple things here. There's you're not confident enough. Hey, believe in your product. Remember, you have a moral and ethical obligation to persuade and sell others, because if you don't, somebody that's inferior, someone's going to take their money. Somebody that's inferior, someone that's going to take advantage of them, someone that's not going to return their phone calls is going to take their money. So you're the best at what you do. Take their money. Serve them. Solve their problem. Have the confidence you can do that. That's the one extreme. The other extreme is too much confidence or arrogance. That's a huge complaint. Right? Yeah, I got this. The way you're coming across is you're arrogant. Now, there's such a fine line between confidence and arrogance. What's the difference? Confidence seems to be about serving them. Arrogance, it's all about you, that you're the best. You don't make mistakes. It's always somebody else's fault. Okay? So, self-confidence is a lot about serving, again, helping others, versus arrogance all about you and what you do. People can sense that. But I'll bet you're doing something that crosses the line, because it's so easy to do. Because a lot of salespeople think, yeah, I'm confident. No, the prospect said you're arrogant because what you did, the way you treated them and responded to their questions, they felt dumber than a stump because the way you responded and the way you, and we've all felt that way in school, the way a teacher treated us after we asked a question. And you probably didn't mean to, but it comes across that way. But here's the one. Happens most of the time for most people. Because when you get into sales, you're going to hear the same objections over and over again, every day, same objections. And over time, and we'll get to this during the sales school, and over time, you're going to develop a great response. And this is what happened, human nature, right? You're talking to a prospect. Oh, here comes the objection. And what do? We cut them off and we solve it. Because we've heard it before and we know the answer. You just crossed the line from being confident to being arrogant. It's the first time they voice that objection. It's the first time they ask it. They're putting themselves out there. I don't care how many times you've heard it. You've got to hear it out completely. Pause before you reply. Otherwise, you're going to cross the line. Just how it is. Okay? So that's confidence. The fourth one, final one, the most important one, credibility. Have you been truthful with them? They've never sent you told a lie. It's your history with you, your company, your industry. So truthful, history, and experience. Credibility. Wow. Now, a couple lessons here that are important when people blow it. You're just beginning. Maybe you don't feel like you have a lot of credibility. You've been in business a month and you got to sell somebody. Borrow credibility. Well, I can't do that. Absolutely. When you're meeting someone for the first time, borrow credibility. You should, you must. You need to do this. Like, well, how do I do that? A testimonial from somebody you've worked with before, maybe in a different industry, an endorsement, a recommendation, a referral is all borrowed credibility. Those are the easiest sales in the world because if you've helped somebody else and they said, yeah, they're awesome, that's all you need many times. So an endorsement, a testimonial, introduction, having somebody introduce you, hey, they're the best, is what they do. Even if they've worked with you in another business, yeah, they're loyal, they're going to get it done, they're going to stay on task until they solve your problem. They're the greatest person, they're fun to work with, they're easy to work with, they're reliable, whatever it is. You could pull it, at least get your mom's testimonial or a friends of a coworker, people you've worked with. Get those testimonials. That's borrowed credibility. Go for it. If you're feeling low credibility, you can do that. See this in companies a lot of times. Someone that's brand new and there's 5 people there, like, well, combined we have 70 years of experience. They might have 2 days, but combined at 70 years of experience, there's a way to leverage borrowing credibility. So please do that, borrow credibility. The second piece with credibility, where people blow it, you want to be so good and perfect. And there's some good to that. Let me just say, when you're too good to be true, your offer's too good to be true, your product's too good to be true, even though it's true, it's not true to them. Your prospect is looking for something wrong with you, your product, your service, your idea. Something's got to be wrong. So you probably better give them one. Give them a weakness of your product, your service, your idea, and turn it into a strength. Go for it. Don't let them make one up, because if you don't give them one, they're going to make one up. Or it's too good to be true, they're going to walk away anyway. And I know it's counterintuitive for many of you. Give them a weakness. We see this in marketing all the time. Avis Rent-A-Car. We're number 2. Weakness. But we try harder. Strength. All right? Listerine. It tastes nasty, right? That's their weakness. The taste you hate twice a day. They're just honest. The Volkswagen Bug, when it first came out, the Beetle. This car's so slow, you'll never get a ticket. L'Oreal. It's expensive. Weakness. Because you're worth it. Strength. You're worth it. Heinz Ketchup. It takes forever to come out. Weakness. Because it's worth the anticipation, right? That's what they say. What do you want, a runny ketchup? This is quality. You can turn it around. You can talk about it. For example, you're probably a smaller company right now. Let's say there's a prospect. They've narrowed it down to 2 companies. A big, huge company, big corporation, and you. Little old you. Is that a perceived weakness? Sure, they're going to find out. Own it. Yeah, we're smaller. We're a lot smaller. Weakness, perceived weakness. Turn it into strength. But you know what? You won't get lost in the cracks. We can get it done a month earlier. We're cutting edge. We can pivot. You'll have my cell phone 24 hours a day. We'll get it done faster, better. And you won't have to work with 5 people. You're going to work with 1. And right, turn that into a strength. You can definitely do that. So out of all the C's, credibility is the most important. I would kind of layer them, work on each one of those. That's a big piece of being successful, having trust, and having that glue. So let's wrap it up. Let's look at all C's of trust here and give you an example. We all want a dentist you can trust, right? A dentist you can trust. So let's say you've moved into a new area and you're like, all right, you have a toothache and not sure where to go. So you ask your first neighbor, can you recommend a dentist? Like, oh yeah, no dentist with great character, just not very competent. Last time I was there, they stuck a needle completely through my cheek. But salt of the earth, good person, great character, just not competent. You know, they pulled my son's wrong tooth, but you know, such a good person. Very sincere. You wouldn't trust them. All right, you go to another neighbor. Can you recommend a dentist? You're like, oh yeah. You know, a dentist that's very competent and expert, graduated top of the class, the best of the best. They just don't have much character though. In fact, if they're in jail for insurance fraud, you might have to wait a few months, but hey, they put in the best fillings. Best fillings you'll ever get in your teeth. You only need one, they'll bill you for two, and maybe put three in, or the other way around, put in two, bill you for three, but the best fillings. All right, no trust. Confidence? What if a dentist, you lay in the dental chair and they put in the x-rays, the dentist goes, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. What do you think? That little gray area? I'm thinking root canal. What do you think? You're running. You're not even stopping. You are running because they're the expert. They need to act like the expert. And credibility. Driving around, you see a sign that says family dentist. You walk in, all right. You see a dental degree on the wall with a country you've never heard of. Sign says cash only, no insurance. Credit card. You see the dentist in a black leather jacket. And around their a tool belt around their waist with a real drill, real hammer. Okay, at what point you're running here? So you see how they're all intertwined. They all matter. So let's start working on them. Let's talk about your homework. What is your weakest link? I mean, you need to work at all of them, but let's start with one. Are we doing character? Working on keeping promises to yourself and others? Or are you working on competence, your personal development, teaching them something new in the first 4 minutes? You're working on confidence, the way you walk in the room, the way you solve objections and answer their questions? Or are you working on credibility, where you're going to borrow that credibility and or reveal a weakness? So there you have it. That's sales skill number 2. This is the glue to everything. We'll be teaching you earning that trust, getting that trust. Because when they trust you, there's very little sales resistance. So learn it, master it, earn the trust, get the trust. Very important. And as you know, mastery skills, do this homework. We'll see you next time on number 3. But do the homework first. Become better. Master these skills. Tell your family and friends about the successofmoneyfoundation.org. Share the message. Become a better person. Improve your life, your family's life, your community's life. And then you know the drill. We're all going to go out. And as we do this, we're making the world a better place.